Peter, very good to speak with you. The International Maritime Organization has delayed adopting its net zero framework for another year. What's your reaction to that decision, and what does it mean for the pace of shipping's decarbonization?
There's no doubt it's adding uncertainty to the path forward. Not just the exact fuel that shipping will focus on in the future, but also the whole decision-making process. That being said, the three major alternatives for shipping fuel in the future has been methanol, it's been ammonia, and people have also talked about nuclear. All three are fuels that are not readily distributable now. They all come with certain question marks, so it's not an imminent fix. So I think overall, it's a little bit hard to tell whether this is good or bad for a company like Quartwise. But the uncertainty, though, suggests that ship owners need to find a way of taking agency themselves, right? And there are a number of technologies out there that you can look to, everything from rotor sails to blowing bubbles down along the side of the hull to changing the paint you put on the hull that will easily offer you 7-8% fuel savings. Or you can use our products, the Quartwise family of MSAR and Bio-MSAR, etc., that are also offering significant reductions in emissions, but they're also offering cost savings. And so for me, the thing is that we may not have the perfect fuel yet, but if you're combining some of these other technologies, the effect is cumulative. So you can actually go pretty far and you can save some money at the same time. So there's no doubt that there is more confusion now. But I do think that for the ship owners, whilst the regulators are trying to find out how we're moving forward, ship owners can do a lot of things themselves.
Well, I wanted to ask about your fuels, Peter, because with no global carbon pricing mechanism in place until at least 2027, how does that uncertainty affect the commercial rollout of cleaner fuels like MSAR and Bio-MSAR?
I mean, it's hard to sense. I mean, I think it's more a sentiment shift, if anything, that could affect it, right? Often, I think that fuel, I mean, fuels such as MSAR and Bio-MSAR are offering cost savings compared to regular fuels and reductions in the emissions. So I think from that perspective, they're still fairly on fairly safe ground. So I don't think it should be affected. I also, there are already a number of regional regulations in place. So the EU is, of course, probably the most important and well known. And I think traditionally, many of the fuels have been appealing mostly to liner companies or ships on a regular service calling in ports regularly so you can build up the distribution. But some of the content in the EU rules, the EU emissions trading scheme, actually offers a tertiary market to asset players, if you will, to the traders and operators who would be happy to take positions on ships and in the physical markets, but they would also take positions in the derivatives markets on freight. But now they can also take positions in the European emissions trading scheme. And there are a number of players who are selling credits already on the biofuels that they're using, where they've been saving CO2 outputs compared to regular operation. And they've been able to sell that at plus €300 per ton of CO2 emission to big American players, people like Microsoft, etc. So there is that market, and that of course still means that many of these technologies are going to be very, very attractive to a wider audience, really.
Do you think the delay could actually play in your favor? Some in the industry worry that it could slow investment in new food fuels. So does that create more short-term opportunities for transitional solutions such as your own?
I'm not sure. It really depends on how the shipping world reacts, but I'm just pretty. I don't see it as being a risk. I mean, I don't see it as being necessarily bad for us. I think it could be in our favor, but it's also up to how quickly can you have the fuels adopted, which is probably more important because I'm also aware that there's a window here that I think is fairly broad, but the earlier we have our fuels ready and we have adoption, obviously the more good can we do with them.
I mean, your sense from attending that IMO meeting, Peter, how important is regulatory clarity for your customers and partners when they're deciding whether to switch from conventional heavy fuel oil to your lower emission alternatives?
Just take good order. I didn't actually participate in it, but I followed it closely. I think what's really important for our clients, the ship owners, is that there is a level playing field. That was also the reason why the EU provided their rules initially. It wasn't because they wanted necessarily to regulate, but there was an absence of global regulation through the IMO. So the EU came in with these rules. So I think that's one of the biggest fears of all ship owners is that they need to adopt to different regulatory frameworks depending on where they are in the world, and that there are people, competitors out there who doesn't comply with the stricter rules that you find. That could be in the EU, but it could easily be somewhere else too, right? That's quite conceivable. So I think the need for a level playing field remains, and probably only IMO can provide that.
Peter, I hope you'll continue to keep us posted on developments. Thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Thank you so much.
Peter Borup is the CEO of Quadrise.